Got this really cool thing. B24 bomb load adjuster. I managed to find this on eBay. It was actually quite a cool little find. I can now adjust my load of a B24. It's actually kind of smart little piece to add to my collection there. Yeah, so there's a thing. So let's just put that back on the wall. Right, onwards. In my last few videos, I was talking about the B17 game, The Mighty Eighth VR, which is just due to come very soon if the estimated time is still correct. But this time I'm going to go to the opposite end of the scale of the B17 games coming from Microprose. And this is the, well, I'm pretty sure everyone is aware of the Mighty Eighth game that came out long time ago. That basically was it was actually the first proper PC game I ever played, and I played it almost to death. But basically, they're coming back and they are remastering the original game. So we are going to be having the original game brought in to work on basically today's computers. And there's a bit coming with it. Now, as I ramble along, I'm going to throw up all the sort of content I've been able to see in terms of media, just playing basically in front of my face as I go through it. There's going to be some comparison shots, and then later on will be the more released current version of the game that we've got. And then as we go through things, I'll go through very specific information that I've been able to find, and that information is available right now in various places on their Discord and in the community sort of collection, and it is up to date as of basically right this second that I've made this video. So if things change afterwards, obviously I didn't know, it's just what I was able to find. So the information we've got right now is that this game is still slated to be released Q4 this year, just like the Mighty Eighth VR game, but again there's no solid evidence to back that up, unfortunately. But we do have some information that is sort of good for those who preferred the original game. So as you might be aware, the original game released in the year 2000. It was actually the second in the series, and this particular game, like I said, is getting a remaster. The developers have gone back to the original source code and updating the engine to its modern state. They were actually able to find the original source code by finding, I'm trying to read here from the thing, from an older employee's attic. They were able to discover the original source code, and then they upgraded it from its original DirectX 7 to DirectX 12. So that's good. It means that obviously they're utilizing everything from the original. So while it is confirmed that it's going to release in Q4 23, obviously we're yet to hear anything about that. But the game in itself isn't going to change much from the original, and in fact they're actually keeping a lot of it exactly the same. With the exception, obviously, they're changing the art style to fit the more widescreen style of display. The actual gameplay is looking to remain almost identical. Some of these include some of the interior shots of the B17 were a mix of the B17F and G variations all combined into one bomber. Now, if you remember the original game, these were externally the G model because you had the chin turret, but it actually included parts of the F model. There is some subtle differences. I'm not really too much of a rivet counter, so I'm not 100% on the exact details. I can tell some variations between the models, but I'm not great at that sort of thing. I can definitely tell the difference between, let's say, a B17C and a B17G, because obviously they have a shark tail, but aside from that, I'm not fantastic at it, but it does, the actual game in itself did have some of those inaccuracies, which they are keeping in the game to remain faithful to the original. The game will have playable fighters, so you will be able to fly the fighters that obviously defended or attacked the B-17s. So in the original game, you may remember that when you flew on certain missions, you could choose to take control of the little friends, and the little friends, I think, if memory serves, were the P-38s, the P-47s, and P-51s, I believe. I could be wrong. No doubt someone will correct me. But by looks of things, we will be getting that back in the Redux, and most likely also be able to take control of the German fighters, so the Messerschmitt 109s, the Focke-Wulf 190s, and the Me-262s, if they are to re-add the exact same aircraft as the original. But they have noted that fighters like the Bf-110 that were not in the original may or may not be added later. So additional aircraft may come, but as long as the originals are there, I think most people who are fans of the original will be completely happy with that. There will be no emergency failure events planned other than those featured in the original, and there'll be no first person moving around the cabin, just like the original. Again, they're keeping everything exactly the same like the original. The ground textures are going to be procedurally generated just like the original, but they will be improved with more triangles. So I think that's I'm not terribly great with sort of how games are made, but I believe that's something to do with like their maybe like how detailed they are on the ground, like how many is it polys or something. I don't know. I'm terrible at it. Someone please. If you wish to let me know in the comments exactly what that means, that'd be great, because then I'll at least know for my own sort of amusement. There will be additional nose art options available for customization, again, like the first game. Formation sizes may increase depending on performance. So in the original game, you would have a handful of planes in the air. You never seem to have that many. At least not what it would have been originally, but if they're able to really hike up the amount of planes in the formation, that would look really cool. They are also looking at adding features that didn't make it into the final game, and they will share those features later on in future updates. Now, one of these features that were missing that I'm aware of was the ability for multiplayer. Now, I don't know if it was cooperative multiplayer, so additional B17s per players, or if it was just adversarial, I think that's the word, PvP, where you could play the German fighters and attack the B17s. Now, I can't remember, I remember reading something about it a long time ago, and I don't know if this is a feature that they're talking about, but it could be something in the horizon, or on the horizon, that we could get with this game as well. They're also looking at adding mod support with a suite of tools to also be released, but again, don't really need mod support in my opinion. I think if you're going to redux the original, let's keep it the original. I mean, there's another game that's going to be added alongside this and the VR game that would be more suited in my opinion to modding. But if it adds modding, great. But I'm going to be playing this for the original personally. They also expect to expand the missions over the original game. Now, the way that I'm seeing this is adding a lot more possible bomb targets, further flights, maybe an expanded sort of campaign length, and by that I don't mean beyond the 25 missions, but more like the range in which the dates that the campaigns lasted for. But most likely it's just going to be additional bomb targets throughout the whole map. They are also looking to add new game modes. Now, I'm not too sure how that would really work. If memory serves, you had a quick play and a campaign, and I think it was like 2 different variations of the campaign. There was like a squadron commander and then another one. So the only thing I could think of is probably more like maybe a wave defense. That would be quite interesting, like a wave defense mode. That would be pretty cool. But again, not much information on that, so don't really know. And finally, and this is actually a little bit, I like this bit of information because it actually gives the game a bit more, how would I word it? It makes it feel like it's actually faithful to the original, because 2 members of the team are going to be a part of this Redux, one of which is someone called Chris Keegan, who is the original programming director for the original game, and Ken Hall, who originally assisted with many roles within the technical art, and the research department for the original game. So it means that we do have members of the original team working on the Redux. Now, that's all I've really got in terms of information about the Redux. There is obviously very little information coming through about all of the titles that we're kind of looking at here. But again, if they are actually releasing dev blogs for this one, there's been 3 so far. which is where a lot of this information has come from. But if it is to be believed, this is expected to be released at some point in Q4 this year, which is rapidly running out. And without any sign of kind of actually being released alongside the VR game, it's a little bit uncertain of its sort of actual release date. I mean, it's obviously going to come, but as for when, we don't know. But I'm certainly looking forward to it. I will definitely be getting it. But what about you? Are you actually looking forward to it? Do you still play the original? I mean, I still play the original. I mean, the footage that's been playing in the background has actually been part of me playing the original not too long ago. But with that being said, there's all the information I have on this game. And I've got one more video planned. I've been ill the past few weeks. I couldn't get an additional video out like I was originally planning. But I have one more coming out, and that is the B17 game that's sitting in the middle of these VR and the original Redux games, which is the Bloody 100, which is looking to be a really good sort of in-between game for those who don't want to play VR but want to do a little bit more than just clicking on a screen. But I'll get to that in the next video. So thank you very much. Words here. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.